You've heard me say it many times, the affordability issue is, I think, the most important thing. If you're not listening, you're not paying attention. And trying to mitigate that for Hoosiers is going to be something that I think across state government, we need to do so. Last month, I suspended Indiana's gas tax, sales tax on fuel. It was a relief from high prices. Of course, that expires here, and I said at the end of that period, I'd look at it again and decide whether we're going to extend it. Hoosiers still need relief from high gas prices. Today, I'm extending the gas holiday for another 30 days. This will take the gas holiday or tax holiday to the end of my emergency declaration. This is the longest I can suspend the gas tax under my authority. Another extension would require a special legislative session. And I'm not only extending the savings, I'm increasing them because in addition to the gasoline use tax, we'll also now include a suspension of the gasoline excise tax, 36 cents a gallon. By suspending both parts of Indiana's gas tax, I am more than doubling the savings for Hoosiers at the pump. The 30-day extension will bring Hoosiers an average of 12.4% savings in every fill-up. And if you're watching the national news, a lot of what's gave us a spike in Indiana was due to summer blend and some things that happened kind of between wholesalers and retailers. I think markets are showing that hopefully we're at a level that it will be going down soon. But in the meantime, this guarantees that here in Indiana, there will be savings. It's going to make it easier, whatever your plans are for Memorial Day, Indy 500, whatever you're going to do as a family, and just getting by day to day. Our priority is making government more efficient and leaving more money in Hoosiers' pockets. And we've been doing that for now a year and 4 months. For state employees that have used their personal vehicles at times for work, we are looking to increase the rate at which we reimburse mileage to help them get through it as well. We are looking at those figures to see what is best, and we will share that update soon. We will continue to use every tool available to make life more affordable for Hoosiers. And what does that mean? That means tackling high healthcare costs. That means looking at utility rates. We've made a strong statement there by reconstituting the IURC to make sure they're ratepayer conscious. You know, they've been out talking to Hoosiers and talking to our investor-owned utilities. Back some time ago, tuition was frozen at our public universities. So these are all things most other states aren't doing. How can we do it? Well, we can do it because our cash position is strong. When I came in, I said I was going to look at making state government work more efficiently. I had 8 individuals from the private sector come in, head these cabinets as secretaries, and we've been working on that for a year and 4 months. And then we had the austere budget forecast, which was actually off the mark. It was reset in December, and it puts Indiana in a place where our economy is growing faster than any of our peer state neighbors, twice as fast as Ohio's, twice as fast as Illinois', 3 times as fast as Kentucky's, 6 times as fast as Michigan's. Economic development, you can see it almost every week. We're ribbon cutting somewhere. That whole reconstitution of IEDC, making sure that we're growing our economy and doing it more broadly through a regional approach is paying off big time. When you look at how we're outperforming even the new forecast on budget, it puts Hoosiers in good shape. So it means that once we get through these choppy waters on gas prices, you know, I've been vocal about trying to invest in childhood early learning, child care, and again, tackling some of the highest healthcare costs that we got in the country with some of the poorest outcomes. So the more we run the state well, we produce dividends there, the more we promote economic development and growth across the state, It enables us to do these kinds of things and still keep everything else healthy. So I'll entertain any questions you might have.
Governor, have you been speaking to the General Assembly about being on standby current for a special session if needed on this?
Not at this point. I think they're aware, if they're listening, that the next step, if we want to do more than what I've done with my own emergency authority, that they would need to be involved. So we have not discussed that particularly.
With this additional suspension, are there any road projects or infrastructure projects that are on hold or have to be delayed?
No, when we were collecting higher revenues, we benefited from that. So that offsets some of this. We've got reserves within NDOT. The biggest issue with NDOT is not now, it's how we're going to road fund in the future. Because the last road funding bill we did as a state was back in 2017. And when it was done, it clearly was going to flatten out in 24 like forecasted and then slightly wane year after year. So we need to figure out, and that'll be a legislative challenge of what we're going to do with across the board good cash flow. We've never done anything out of the regular budget generally for infrastructure. Community crossings is something that I think has been a successful program. I want to enhance it. I think we can do it. We've got a inventory of smaller projects we're going to work down, and it means any larger projects across the state, until we get another plan in place for long-term road funding, will have to be probably stretched out and getting less done in the amount of time you would have wanted to do it in the past. And it'll require cost sharing on anything major from some of the beneficiaries in those areas.
Sir, is there any opportunity to tackle redistricting again ahead of the general election, or has that ship sailed?
I think that ship has sailed due to the fact that the only place that can be entertained is probably, in a way before your primary. And of course, ours has passed. And I think in the instance of places that are doing it, it's based on another reason than whether you're going to mid-decade redistrict or not, due to the court ruling that recently came down. And that doesn't apply to us.
Are you going to results last night put Leader Bray's leadership in jeopardy?
I think what I would take from that is you not only misread what to do on redistricting, but you may look at what you've been doing over the last few years. And in the year and 4 months I've been here, I'm trying to take Indiana to a level we haven't seen before. And of course, the roadblock is generally in the Senate. It was that way when property taxes were the biggest issue. Complaints across the state. Well, you get a Senate Bill 1, and then it's completely gutted by the same chamber that gave it to you. So I think that was probably a bad first impression. I just want legislators that are willing to address all these cost of living issues, that are willing to take on big health care, which they ran against me when I came in. And most of that was watered down again by a lot of what happened in the Senate. So if we want to really get things done in this state and take it to places we haven't seen before, we got to be enterprising, not a place where good ideas die.
Do you support a change in leadership?
I said all along that if you're not doing things in a way that are going to make lives for Hoosiers better, that you can't stick with the same old game plan. So I'll let them work that out on their own. And after last night, I think it gives them the option of having new leadership if they choose to get it.
Talk to me about the Lilly announcement this morning. Why should the average Hoosier care about that announcement? Is it jobs? Why should the average Hoosier care about that?
So I think if we ever forget why we're prosperous as a state, it's not from government. The biggest failing there, of course, is people that look to the federal government for that. Well, they run their operation by borrowing from our kids and grandkids. They miss the mark by 30% each year. I served there 6 years. So if it isn't for the private economy, where you're creating something real and you're doing it to where your product sells, that's how government gets its revenues. And we're blessed to be in a state that has done a reasonably good job over the years of making a great place to build a business, start a business especially. They create most of the jobs. large businesses, house them, and raise a family. And my simple plan as governor is going to make sure it's easy. Just give me a second here to do both. So I think when Lilly is doing something like that, any state would want them to be in their state for all that they do for it. And I want to get other companies like that. And I especially want to encourage Main Street small businesses to feel that this is a place to do it in. Thank you so much for your questions.